Welcome to the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, a podcast dedicated to the commercial food equipment repair industry. My name is Pat Finley. I'm a lead master certified technician at General Parts Group and a certified special trainer. My goal is to shine a light on what I believe to be one of the most interesting and rewarding industries a field service technician can work in. I love the work I do, and I'm glad you're here listening to this podcast. In this episode, I talk with Amanda Widmeyer on her transition from office to field. All right, today I'm joined with Amanda Widmeyer, and she is with General Parts in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So thanks for coming on, Amanda.
Thanks for having me.
So you have a really cool story to tell. So let's just start from the beginning. You're in the Fort Wayne branch. How long have you been here?
4 years.
4 years? So you were hired in as what role when you originally started here?
Service support specialist, but I took care of the warehouse side.
Yeah, so they really rebranded that title so you can do more things just like the warehouse or dispatch or, shipping and receiving. So it's really cool. So that's cool. So you like GP then?
I do. Very much.
Yeah, it's a good company. I've grown a lot. I've been here 11 years and I've enjoyed my time here. I've made a lot of advancements. So it's a pretty cool company and they do treat us employees well. So your current title is?
As of today, service technician.
Sweet. So what made you want to transition into being a tech? I know you worked in the warehouse. So you had a lot of interaction with the guys coming in and you see parts behind us. So you probably were pulling parts and, working with the guys. So what piqued your interest? What got you on this path you're on now?
Actually, it kind of started, I worked at Heritage Parts for 6-7 years. And I took all of the calls from service technicians from across the map. So they were calling in, giving model and serial and asking for a part, and I'd look it up. So I had a lot of background looking up parts, knowing what they were, and then also seeing what the equipment was and how it broke down. And that was always interesting to talk to technicians in the field and just wondering what they were looking at out there. So that piqued a little bit of interest. And then I came here, and being on the service side was a little bit different. It was way, way neater just to actually have interactions with technicians and see them in and out. And I already had a background in parts, so I could help them find parts and figure out where to get them from if they weren't available. So, and they were very supportive too. We built a good rapport with each other. And so there was a lot of talks, and Johnny Cipher was one of the people. It was a couple years ago. That's like, he's been ever since then saying, come on, you need to be a technician. And I'm like, maybe that is possible. And so that was basically where I went with it. And I've been thinking about it for a couple of years seriously, but just finally
Made
the jump. Yeah.
I like Johnny. Johnny calls me all the time. He works on a lot of stuff and he needs training in a lot of stuff. And he's like me. He won't say no, unfortunately. And that'll get you in trouble. So you got to be able to know your limitations. But if you do get into trouble, you got to know who to call. And Johnny calls me a lot of times. He called me today, asked me about some stuff, and hopefully I gave him the right information. So we'll see. But that's cool. I like Johnny. So I had no idea you worked for Heritage. So that's cool. So that's a pretty good background to start. Because you were able to look at the pictures and look for the parts, and that kind of gives you an idea where things are, what to do. So that's a good start. Who knows? I may have called you over the years, because when I first started, I actually worked out of this branch for 3 to 5 months, I think, and then I transferred down to Indy because I live halfway between here. So
okay.
Yeah, I called them a little bit. I try not to call people factories or places to get parts. I do the best I can, and in worst case scenario, I'll call. So
yeah.
So you've been here 4 years and you transitioned over. That's cool. That's awesome. I didn't realize you worked at Heritage. That makes a lot of sense then.
Yeah.
So what was the final factor that kind of led you to do it? Just one day you just said, enough sitting back here looking at these guys walking in and out. You wanted to get out there and get dirty yourself, or?
Yeah. Aaron Thompson, our branch manager, we had a little meeting. It's sort of half the backside is tech meeting, safety, that sort of stuff. But the beginning part is everyone. So me and the dispatcher, and Aaron, and he was talking about how we need techs, and they need to be out there and trying to recruit. And I think we were running on 3 or 4 techs at one point, and he had hired on a few more. And he said, even he made the comment, even at this point, I think I'd feel okay with bringing someone green on. And my head goes bing. So I went home that night and I talked with my fiance, and just kind of got his thoughts on it. And I wanted to advance and actually know something that was skilled and be able to make a difference. And he was all for it. Also, I'm kind of getting up there in age, so if I can't do the physical labor here in 15 years, I might be able to do tech support on the phone, or help guys out, or help guys and ladies out in the field if they need help.
Yeah.
So there's kind of, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for advancement for technicians. There's a lot of different avenues you can go. I mean, just in general parts, there's places you can go, and then there's more outside of general parts, manufacturing stuff like that. Just depends on the relationships you build and where you want to go. So it's really cool to see you out here doing things. I see a lot of social media stuff from us there, and see you work on some ovens, some other stuff. So what are some of the cool things you've worked on that you didn't? I seen you on a Chick-fil-A grill.
Yeah. Yeah, I was working with Shane Reed for a little while there, and we were going to a lot of Chick-fil-A's, and so I got a chance on the Henny Penny pressure fryers, and I did help him with the Garland clamshell. Yeah, I mean, it's been a variety of things. I've been on the rooftops cleaning coils, and back then it was really hot out, so I got that side of it. Our other technician does a lot of refrigeration, and I was out there with him, Evan, doing a lot of the refrigeration and cooking PMs. So I got to see that side of it, and then how it correlated with the rooftop, and did some ice machine cleaning. Those take a long time.
Yeah, they're doing right. They take some time. That's the thing I've struggled with. My trainee right now, my trainee's green. Green is going to be like, he's been out of high school for a year. He's never touched tools in his entire life, and it's starting fresh. So I can pick on him. He's my son, so I can pick on him a little bit. But it's kind of brutal training your own son. I mean, I want to jump in there and help him as the fatherly thing.
Yeah.
But then I got to realize, no, he's just going to have to do it himself. If he busts his knuckles, he busts his knuckles. He'll figure out don't do it that way, And he's learning. The problem is, like, I guess as a lead tech, I get a lot of those crazy calls, the combi calls, and stuff that he's not going to see for a while. And really, I'm trying to focus on getting him on some basic fryers and ovens and stuff like that, so he can build his confidence on those before he jumps into a combi. So it's weird. So that's another question I had. I didn't know if you were just going to be strictly hot side, if you're going to do refrigeration, or you don't know yet, or just kind of go with the flow.
My goal is to do everything, but I want a lot of time on this for now. So it's just the hot side for now. And then once I'm more comfortable and I get a lot more, just in the field work, then I want to jump into the rest of it.
Yeah. I started off hot side only for 3 years, and then I wanted to do refrigeration. And some days I beat myself up for wanting to do refrigeration. Some days I love it. It's a love-hate relationship. When you're in a walk-in freezer, it's -10, and you forgot your coat's not in the truck, or you don't have gloves, and there's days I'm like, why did I get this? Or you get on the rooftop and it's 100 degrees, and you're on a black roof and it's 120, or a white roof, and the heat just bounces right up in your face. It's weird. You can get sunburnt like the underneath side of your chin from the sun bouncing off that white roof and getting you. So you never know what you're going to get into, especially if you're doing both sides. I've been on rooftops and it's snowing or pouring down rain. It's a tough job, but it's very rewarding. I mean, you go into a customer and everything's, they can't open up their ovens down or their coolers down. They're worried about their food going bad. You fix it, you're the hero. Just to see the smile on their face, the relief, they can open up, or, their product's not getting wasted. It means a lot. So it's a definitely rewarding job.
Yeah, I feel that, definitely.
So when you talked to Aaron about wanting to be a tech, what was his thoughts? Was he kind of leery? Was he right all for it right off the get, or just kind of didn't know what to take it first? Or
I don't think the word would be leery. I think he was kind of surprised that I was asking because
yeah,
I jumped on it like right in the morning. I said, "When you get a chance, can we talk?" And he was
nice.
like, "I have time now."
Okay.
And so I went through with it, and he was sort of like, "Well, okay, give me a minute, and I'll get back with you." And he talked with Apparently Ed Eisen on the phone, who actually was in my interview to become a service support specialist 4 years ago.
Yep.
So I worked with him quite a bit, and he went to his office and talked to Ed on the phone, and Ed said absolutely. And so here, like 15, 20 minutes later, here comes Aaron with an electrical book and a gas book and says, "Here, Ed said that it's great. Like, we'll have to work on this because this is the first time that anybody's done this, transitioning from the office to a field role.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to work out kinks." But he was ecstatic, I think, at that point.
That's cool. That's really awesome. Yeah. I mean, aside from you being a woman in the industry, just someone from the office coming in is a huge thing. You don't see it very often, so that's really cool. I admire that side of it. It's to take a chance, coming from being back here in a safety zone to with guys. At least you already knew the guys, though. You already had the relationships with the guys. It was just building relationships with the customers that come. So
yeah,
that's cool.
He did have those questions. What are your what's the motivation for this? That sort of thing. And I did bring that up. I do have a rapport with the guys already, which is huge. And then also just knowing the background.
Yep.
I think was a big part.
I'm blown away with that. I had no idea you worked for Heritage. That's a cool aspect of it because, like you said, you already could, someone tell you the name of the part, you look at a blow up or a diagram. Oh, this is what this part is. And this is what it connects to. So that probably is a huge help. Like before I started doing this, I was an electrician, so I knew how to use a meter. I understood Ohm's law. I understood switches, fuses, circuit breakers. So I was an electrician for years before I came here, and it helped me tremendously. So I could see that side of it really helping you out, making it a lot easier on a lot of things you have to do. So that's cool. So the game plan, how long did it take before you actually started going out into the field, and what was the game plan that Aaron and your regional and Ed and everybody came up with once you got to that point for you to start hanging out, outside the office, riding in the van, seeing customers? Did you do a ride along first to make sure, or did you just go straight to
it? He actually took me into his office and he showed me a picture of behind a fryer. Said, "Are you sure?"
Oh, you'll probably see worse than that out there.
I've laid in it already. But yeah, I think he did send me out the first time and said, "Just make sure, make sure that this is really something that you want to do. I'll send you out a couple of times." And I said, it really is. This is it. And but I'm pretty sure it's hard to think about. It's been such a blur. I'm pretty sure I got sent out pretty quick, like in the next couple weeks after that.
That's cool.
So the game plan was, and I think they changed it up just a little bit. It was 6 months, I think, was the turnover point. And they started me out on the 5th of June. And it was 2 days a week in the field, 3 days a week in the warehouse. And that was it. Training, on my own time as far as like trying to get some electrical. So I looked through all of the books that he gave me and studied those. Got whatever I could offline. It was hard to know what to look for.
Yeah.
So, I did find quite a bit, but that was a little bit difficult, I guess, knowing where to look and what if it's not right.
Yeah, I should have reached out to you sooner. I could have gave you some things to look at, some things to do. So sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
I'll still give you some information. So we're done here to get my number, and I'm always open for tech support. Ask you can ask my wife. My phone rings all the time. I pretty much always have my work phone on me. I'm a little better here lately when I'm not on call and I go to bed. I leave it in the other room, but
Right.
I used to always have it beside me in the bed, and I'd answer, texts from Seattle, phone calls, Florida, Texas. I'll answer anybody's phone calls. There's guys that don't even work for us that I help out. So that's just me. I want to see guys succeed.
Yeah.
There's enough work out there for everybody. Just I want people doing it the right way.
Absolutely.
So if we can do that, that's all I ask for. So, all right. So what were some of the challenges in being in the field and here inside the warehouse? I mean, I had to be. I think I'd go crazy. I'd be wanting to get back out in the field versus sitting in here dealing with this stuff.
That was absolutely one of the things. Once I was out in the field and I knew I was going to be there, working in the warehouse was like, this is my day. But it helped that I had a lot of work to do, so I was busy the whole day. So it went by fast.
So you're playing catch up from the other 2 days you weren't here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that happen. So there's a lot of stuff that goes in the warehouse. People don't realize it, because we're always pulling parts, sending out to other branches, other companies.
Yeah.
The warranty, the shipping, receiving, that kind of stuff. So I could see being gone 2 days could be a hassle.
Yeah.
So.
And they were very supportive. So Aaron and Kara, I usually only answered the phone if they were both on the phone. So I was their backup kind of. So, but they helped me out with the shipping and receiving and making sure that all the work orders got staged and ready to go. And so that was a big, big help.
So have they hired someone for the warehouse now then?
Yeah.
How soon did that happen? Pretty soon? Did you tell them you better start looking pretty fast?
Yeah. No, I didn't think that I'd get someone until January. And I think one of their last meetings, I went to Cefesa earlier this month, the first week of this month. And I think, let's see, 2 or 3 weeks before that, Ed and Aaron, I think Gene, Hodge, all had a meeting, and I think they were like, hey, what do you think? You think she's getting ready? And he asked me about it, and I said, yeah. And he goes, so we can bump this up? And I was like, okay. So he said we have the go-ahead to start looking for a new service support specialist for the warehouse. And they hired someone within a couple of weeks, and I started training. I think I trained her for 2 weeks. My timeline might not be right, but I trained her for a couple of weeks before I went to Cefesa, and she's rocking it. She's handled warehouse stuff before. She's actually managed warehouses and had great inventory. So I think she's going to knock it out of the park.
Nice, nice. So I heard there's some pretty cool stories about, Aaron giving you a meter because you were asked questions about electrical, so he gave you your meter early, and then people helping you out with tools, and you raiding tools from your fiance. So
yeah.
How did all that come about? Just people just trying to help you out and see you succeed?
Yeah.
So what are some of the cool things the guys did for you? Anybody?
Oh man, I think all of them have been integral in like being supportive. Hey Amanda, if you need anything, ever call us. But Aaron has been very, very helpful. Anytime I have a question, anytime I'm, not sure how it's going, or, hey, have you had any negative feedback or anything? And then also asking about, he said, where do you think you are, and what kind of things do you think you need more help with? And I talked to him about the meter and needing more hands-on and knowing what to do, where to test. And he goes, well, hang on. And he comes back with the meter and he says, here, take this.
Nice.
So he did that. He's done a lot of things. There were a couple of things that I think Old Techs left behind, and he was like, they never asked for it back. It's just been sitting here. So here, take this and anything else in this box if you want it. Johnny Cipher has, I think he was giving me a bunch of stuff. Like, it wasn't just one tool. It would be like all laid out real nice and neat on my desk.
You're like, where'd this
when I come in the morning. And he said, that's your monthly what he didn't call it a present. I don't know what he called it, but he goes every month. And so I started labeling all of them. Like, this came from Johnny. This came from Johnny. And I go, so how long do I have with this stuff so that I know, what to replace and when? And he goes, no, that's yours.
Yeah.
I already have a new one. It's just sitting around.
Yeah.
And I feel really blessed. All of the guys have been greatly helpful.
That's cool. Yeah, the longer you do this, the more you'll realize you start. Like, I'm a huge tool addict, so I have like 2 or 3 of everything. I shouldn't say this because someone's watching me over here, but I have 2 or 3 of everything, and my trainee's caught onto it, so he's like been robbing my stuff. I'm like, I look over, and I had a bag. A Vito bag. I was going to use for like a rooftop bag, so I didn't have to carry my big giant bag up there. Next thing I know, he's got it. And he's like shoving tools in there. I'm like, he's like,
hold on.
He's like, this is mine now. And I was like, well, I'm glad that was a free one. So yeah, I guess you can have it. So every time he finds a drawer in my van, he gets it and he's like, hey, I didn't know these were in here. I was like, oh man, I gotta do a better job hiding this stuff from him. So he's got a lot of my stuff, but I mean, it's cool to be able to help people out. So
yeah, and I have rated from my fiance for sure.
Hey, get married soon enough. Yeah. What's his is yours. What's yours is his, right?
I'm definitely labeling those, though. He's very particular about his tools.
Yeah, I'm like brand loyal to a T. So like everything has to be a certain brand. My screwdrivers are one brand. My a lot of my other tools are one brand, and I'm terrible about it. And then I'll find some like really precision German tool, and I'll jump aboard and I'll buy all their stuff. So if, like a pair of pliers are like $70. I'm like, why did I buy these? But they're amazing. They work great. Right. I've never used a pair of pliers like this before, but these are absolutely amazing. So it gets expensive at the time. So that's awesome. They're helping you out.
Yeah.
So Cefesa training. So you mentioned that earlier. If you don't know, I teach refrigeration for Cefesa. So I go there twice a year and I train basic refrigeration. So it's an entry level class. So you got to have your like electrical background. You got your EPA. You got to have some hands-on experience, not a whole lot. And then I bring them in. We do brazing. I've introduced pressing. I use an RLS system. It's a rapid locking system. It's a torchless system. It's ready for refrigerant, and I use it a lot. And so I'm fortunate enough that they send me fittings, and I actually take those fittings in my tool of class with me, and I let everyone use it so they can see it. So, just to show that there's the new modern techniques and everything to all the jobs is what I try to do. So, but Cefesa is an amazing opportunity, and that's pretty cool. You got to go. So what was your thoughts about being down there?
It was great. It was a huge surprise that I got to go. I think they came out with the list or they sent us the list of all of the trainings that were available 2 or 3 months ahead of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that one, and I went to Aaron. I said, can I go to this? Is there any chance? And he said, no, I don't think so. You're not technically a technician yet, but we'll get you.
Yeah,
we'll get you there. Well, Friday before that training session that I wanted to go to, Jean Hodge called me around noon, and she said, hey, so there's this training down in South Carolina that starts on Monday morning. You'd have to leave Sunday. And I'm going, what? Sign me up. And then I called my fiance and I said, so just so you know, I'll be gone next week. He was all for it.
Yeah, I've had those conversations. Hey, I got to go for a week. Sorry. But that's cool. Cefesa is an amazing facility. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 test hoods. There's all kinds of equipment. Did you see the barn just full of stuff back there?
No, I didn't get to look.
So around the back, there's a big barn. They call it Dan's shed, but it's huge. It's about half the size of this warehouse. It is jam packed. So, like I leave Friday. Actually, I go down there and we'll have to pull all the cooking stuff out from last week and shove it in there and take all my refrigeration stuff out and set it up. I'll actually work all weekend down there trying to get ready for class. And but there's all kinds. There's dish machines, ice machines, ovens, ranges, combi ovens, convection ovens. There's everything you can think of in there. There's hoods.
That's great.
It's an amazing facility. Dan does a really good job on teaching. Dan, he's became one of my good friends just from working with him there. But he's great with the people. He's a people person. And that's what makes Dan a great tech is he was able to interact with the customers. And if you can interact with the customers, it goes a long way. So What was some of the interactions with Dan? He give you a hard time?
Well, yeah, I think, and it was fun. It was all in good fun,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he definitely picked on me a little bit, and it was great.
Mhm.
I like working with Dan so much.
I was trying to get my son to go, and it just didn't work out. And I told Dan, I was like, if you get someone named Corbin Finley down there, I said, give him hell. Um, so he was going to have it, but he ended up getting to go. So I'm trying to get him in the next one. So we'll see what happens. So, what kind of stuff do they teach? They teach a lot for that class for new tech training.
Yeah, so it was a lot of the basics.
Mhm.
I was kind of nervous ahead of time because I thought maybe I'd be in there with techs that were more advanced, and there were a few.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all electrical, all hot side, all electrical, and then so we had a few days of that, and then a few days of gas, and then we touched on steam. So I think there was just not enough time for this team. So
Yeah. So, like, you guys, did he go over like basic, like tool usage and how basic is it? I've never done an NTT class, which is new tech training.
yeah,
Um, I I don't know. I just never did it, so I don't know what's all involved. I know he talks about he teaches basic how to use a meter, how to use a manometer, that kind of
yes,
stuff. So that's pretty cool for someone new.
he, uh, yeah, Dan Reese did a great job. So he had benches set up
Mm-hmm.
for everyone. I'm sure you've seen
Yep.
that. But then, all these electrical circuits on boards that he made up. And then he'd have us wire them up, but he'd have meters and clamp meters set out for each group,
Mm-hmm.
and then a bag of tools for each group, and then a box of wires and a box of connectors. And he's like, set it up so that it does this. And that was definitely like, oh my God, why am I here? I don't know what I'm doing. But he really, the hands-on, I think, really helps, and I was very happy that he had that.
Yeah, it's a different environment. It's nice to be with people outside of your own work, but people at the same, close to the same level as you. So it's
Yeah,
not really, you don't have someone that's been doing this 15 years in your class. He's over there being a smart aleck or, pouting or boohooing in the corner.
right.
So as people, all your same technical ability are close to it, and it makes it easier on you. Um,
Yeah,
I could see being nervous going there, especially not knowing what to expect. But it's an amazing place, and they do good things. So I'm glad that you got a chance to go.
yeah, me too.
So did you meet everybody there? Or who all was there that week? Did you meet? Probably Olivia was there.
Yeah, Olivia was
Was
there.
Charlie there?
Charlie,
He's a
I
social
maybe,
media guy.
yeah, he took pictures. I didn't get a chance to actually meet him.
He's kind of quiet. He's my buddy though. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
I was trying to hang out with him this week. Last week he was in town for FFA, so they have they set a booth up down at FFA, and they introduced all the kids to what we do. So they'll have a couple pieces of equipment down there. He was in town. I was just too busy on call. I didn't get a chance to go hang out. I forgot it was FFA time. I walked into the convention center on Monday to do a job, and I looked up and I was like, "Oh crap!" Because I see all the blue banners hanging everywhere.
Oh,
I was like, "No!" So I said, "Who all is coming down for this?" And he says, "Just Charlie this week." I was like, "No." I was trying to take some time off to go down there and help him work the booth because it's just too much for one guy.
yeah,
Luckily, some other people in the industry were helping out, so he did have some help, but it's cool. So, um, yeah, Charlie does social media stuff. He's pretty good. Olivia does all kinds of stuff. There's Linda and then Heather. Did you meet Heather?
no, I didn't.
She hides up in our front office. She runs the show. She looks out after me. I I never always get scared when I get an email or a call from Heather, but generally it's always pretty good. So
Yeah,
Fest is a wonderful place. If you guys are part of a Festa company or you want some training, check them out. They offer a scholarship. I don't know if they talked to you guys about that when in your class, but they have Festa Cares. So they do it twice a year, and it's a $2,500 scholarship. Now you can use that for any kind of training you want to use. So you can use it, towards them. You can use it, it's like a trade school or something, or if you want to take night classes, learn how to weld, anything that's going to advance your career in the food service industry. It's that. And then also, another cool thing is each winner is actually getting a $1,500 tools from, I think it's All Points is giving them out. and it's $1,500 in Klein tools, and that's a pretty good amount of
Wow.
tools. So you might want to sign up for that. I know I'm trying to get my training to sign up for it. So
Yeah. I've actually looked at it a couple of times. I've started it and then I get busy or sidetracked and I need to finish
I
that
think you
thing.
got 30 days, so you better get on it.
I know.
I'll be reminding you. I'll put you on this email with my training. How about that?
Yep.
Make sure you guys get signed up for it. I want to sign up for it, but I was like, man, I've been doing this 16 years because there's some things I want to do. I want to take some public speaking courses or get a public speaking coach. I want to, for training and this and some other stuff. I think it'd do me well to take some public speaking stuff. If you don't notice, I say and I freeze and stutter sometimes. So I just want to get better at everything I do. So that's just the next step in my evolution, I guess. I'm the type of person that's never satisfied. I always want to do more. Like I won Technician of the Year, or Outstanding Technician, whatever they call it now. And I'm like, the next day, I'm like, what can I do to be better? What can I do to, how can I top what I do now? It's just,
I saw that. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a terrible. My mind is a terrible thing. It's worked out, but it's a terrible thing. So, all right. So, how was the feeling of getting the keys to that van out back?
I felt like a kid on Christmas. I kept walking out, so I drove it home, and then I parked it in the driveway, and then I kept walking out and looking at it, making sure it was there for real.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. So my trainee, he has a personal vehicle and he hasn't drove it. Like he'll go to the gas station. That's it. It's like he's always in the van, and it's a huge part of what we do. I mean, but it's actually a huge benefit too because you're not using your vehicle. So, but yeah, I remember the first time I got keys to a van, I was like, I felt so weird being in this van. I was like, it's not mine. Something happens.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
You got any tools on there yet?
Yeah, I still have a few big things to get, but those I'm borrowing from my fiance.
Hey, whatever. it comes and goes. I remember when I first started, I had the cheapest tools from Harbor Freight, and I'd break them or I'd tear them up, and then I'd learn spend the money on a little better quality tools each time you buy. So if you buy a screwdriver, you buy it from Harbor Freight and it breaks. Go to Lowe's and get Craftsman or Cobalt, and then if you break that one, then go and get Klein or something else.
Right.
That's what I do. I don't ever start off with the best, but I start at the bottom, work my way up. So,
yeah,
tools are a huge investment, and it can be overwhelming. I tried to just when I first started just buy the tools I needed when I need it. So if I knew I had a job where I'm going to need a hammer drill, I was like, well, I guess I'll have to go buy a hammer drill, that kind of stuff. So, but our branch, we had a hammer drill. If I didn't have one, I could use it. I don't know if they have that here, but most of them do.
Yeah.
A van making a bunch of noise in, so no parts on there. All the shelves are probably rattling and driving you nuts.
Kind of a little bit. I think one day it was rattling a lot. When I drove all the way to where was I? Michigan City.
Holy smokes.
And it was raining and the whole time. It was in the dark in the morning, and out of the blue, I hadn't noticed it before. You think you'd notice that? And it was rattling like no other thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, what is going on back there?
It comes and goes.
Other than that, it's been fine. It just kind of went away, and I don't know what the difference
It comes
was.
and goes. It's like I'll have like a little piece of plastic or something will just make all kinds of noise, and then also it goes away and you don't hear it, and then all of a sudden it comes back. You're like, what is that? You can't ever find it.
Yeah.
Just wait till you have parts lined up and down both sides of tools, and something starts around. You're like, it drives you nuts.
Yeah.
You have a lot of roundabouts up here?
Not so many.
We have a ton, and roundabouts they're nice because you can get through the intersection pretty fast, but that rocking and swaying of the roundabout will rip the shelves out. So if you have a lot of heavy stuff, you got to check your shelves. I had my tank rack for my refrigeration tanks. I had 4 tanks, and it actually pulled the anchor out of the wall and it fell over and scared the living crap out of me. And I wasn't going through the roundabout like a wild man, but that van had like 140,000 miles on there. Yep. So it was about time to go anyways, and that scared the crap out of me. I was like, bang! I was like, what was that?
So tighten them up every once in a while.
Yeah, just make sure that it just pulled the anchor out of the metal, just working back and forth over time. So, yeah. So I already asked you about refrigeration. You want to learn it eventually. I like your plan. Start with hot side and go from there. Get a good grasp on it. Refrigeration is a long thing, especially if you're just picking up as you go. I did electrical for like 7 years before I started this, and I went to hot side, and I did hot side for 3 years. And then I wanted to do refrigeration. and I ended up jumping ship to go somewhere else to learn refrigeration. And I ended up here a couple of years later, and I still learn stuff in refrigeration to this day. I still learn stuff on hot side too, but refrigeration, it's a totally different beast. Hot side, it's a lot faster. Something's a lot faster to heat up, and you can tell if it's going to be fixed a lot faster. On a cooler, say if you had a walk-in freezer and it was 30 degrees in there, 36 degrees in there, you get it fixed. Well, guess what? That product's 36 degrees in there. It's going to take forever for it to get back down, and you're freaking out. Is this fixed? Is this running right? I mean, it's a totally different beast. So you have to learn patience. I am super impatient. I cannot stand waiting on stuff, and refrigeration's a waiting game.
Yeah.
I don't know about your branch, but my branch, our policy is on an ice machine. If you fix an ice machine, you have to let it make 3 batches and time it. So that way you can tell if it's consistent and you think you got a grasp of it. And some of these big Hoshizakis are got 45 minutes for recycle.
Yeah.
And you got to justify to your customer, hey, you're sitting there staring at your phone or staring at the ice machine. And you got to explain to your customer, hey, we do this. That way, if it does go down, I'm here versus I'm 2 hours down the road and you're calling back in. It's going to be, how can we work you in the next couple of days?
Right.
So you just got to be able to talk to your customers, explain it to them, and justify it. So, but the refrigeration side, you definitely have to have patience.
Yeah, that is something I've got to work on. I don't have a lot of it.
Yeah, I'm terrible. I don't know how I do refrigeration because I can't sit still. I play on my phone. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I have apps I use job probes instead of hoses for manifold stuff. Okay. So I always have it on my phone, so I can always see that too. But I mean, I'll burn through the battery on my phone. What else am I gonna do? I mean, I can brush some stuff out. I'll walk around the kitchen and look and see if there's anything else that needs looked at, or if something's leaking, or I'll try to get some on jobs or something while I'm standing there. But so, what are some of your training goals in the next 6 to 12 months? Anything you want to do in particular? Manufacturer, personal?
Well, I mean, whatever I can get in there.
Get in here.
I do want a little bit more training on the manufacturer equipment that we work on a lot. Mm-hmm. That I think I'll see a lot. So just to get a little more honed in on that, but anything I can get my hands on.
Do you guys do a lot of Frymaster and Garland grills here?
Yeah.
So have you seen the online stuff for that, for like the level 1 stuff? So there's a lot of, so you might want to look into that. There's a lot of level 1 stuff online.
On their websites?
Well, it's you have to get it through our website. Let me try to get the links. I'll get it out to you. But you can do level 1 online, and then I actually teach level 2 for Frymaster and Garland. So should have some classes coming up at the beginning of the year in the slower periods. So if you can get your level 1 stuff done, maybe we can get you into level 2. And once you have level 2, you can go out and you can do startups. Like Frymaster doesn't want you doing startup on some of their stuff until you have level 2 certification.
Sure.
You got to have level 2 certification to work on pretty much any of the Garland grills. But I actually have test units. I have test fryers. I have test grills. The fryers we tear apart a little bit, but not so much. But the grills is pretty much an all hands on class. It's in front of this grill I have a gas grill and an electric grill, and we literally tear them apart, put them back together. I mess the gaps up. You gap them. You create menus.
That's
we go through everything. It's a day and a half. I tell the managers 2 days, but generally I can go to a day and a half. It just depends on how much people want to do. So if they're really involved and they really want to play with the programming stuff like that, it can go 2 days, but just about a day and a half. But there should be something coming through. So any advice on someone wanting to change roles or take a chance in joining the food service repair industry?
I definitely say right along. I think that's important for any part of the branch. I think it helps. Like if a dispatcher wants to know a little bit, they should know a little bit more about what goes on the field and vice versa. But if you're interested in it, definitely ride along. See what actually happens out there and just go for it. That's I feel sort of like a baby right now. I'm out of my comfort zone, but I'm enjoying it a lot. And yeah, it can be scary to transition, but I'm very proud of myself for jumping.
Yeah, everybody's proud of you.
Trying to take a leap.
Yeah, everyone's proud of you. You can see in all the posts they're making about you. excited for what you've done. Like we said earlier, it's not no one's came out of the office into the field. We've had people come out of the field into the office, that kind of stuff. But you're setting a standard for coming, for the warehouse role or from a dispatch role or whatever role going into the field. So that's cool.
I think there's people out there.
Yeah, I think there is too. I think people just need to, like you said, do the ride along. See if you like it. Do a couple days. Don't let anybody in the office say, if you're really interested, we'll send you out for a couple days. We'll give you some t-shirts, find some work boots and some old nasty tennis shoes, and we'll send you out there for a couple days to see. And I think that should be a part of any career, though. I don't think it's just here, but like, so say you want to be a welder, but you've never welded. Well, you need to go work with someone that's welded for a while. Or if you want to be HVAC, you need to go ride with someone that does HVAC for 2 or 3 days before you go to class. These people go to these trade schools, and they spend all this money thinking they're going to do HVAC, and they come out and they hate it. I'm like,
right. I agree.
I'm like, there's some buyer's remorse there. It's always try before you buy type of deal. So it's I don't know. You'll be all right. I got faith in you.
Thank you. I do have some questions. So I've been trying to, instead of listen to music or, just the band rattling when I'm driving, I've been looking around for different podcasts, and I've listened to a lot of yours.
Thanks.
And then I found a couple of, and they're all HVAC.
Yeah.
That's all I can find.
So that's actually how this started.
I need some like direction in that.
Yeah, that's how this started. Like, I was listening to podcasts. So I watched a lot of there's a friend of mine. Most of these guys are friends. I've met these people in real life. It's weird what Instagram and social media has led to. I met a lot of guys at AHR, which is a big expo for heating and air and refrigeration. But I started off by just like, I was looking for something on YouTube, and I stumbled across HVACR videos. His name's Chris Stevens. He's a small business owner in California. He makes a lot of great videos. He breaks down what he does, why he does it, explains things. It started off as a channel explained to his employees, and eventually he just opened it up to the public, and he does a really great job. He's really smart. So if you're bored and you want to watch a YouTube video, you can check him out. But there's I'd have to send a link. Reliable HVAC or Reliable HVACR, maybe. I have to look and see. Adrian's gonna kill me, but he has a YouTube channel, and he puts the stuff up on podcast form too.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot of kitchen, but like I said, that's how I got started in this. I listened to a lot of refrigeration, HVAC, and there's some plumbing guys. I'm like, man, there's nobody that does what I do. I was like, surely there's a market for it. So, and that's how I got involved in this. So I'll send you some links to some refrigeration stuff. There's not a whole lot of the cooking side. There's some guys going to start. There's a guy in Canada that's wanting to start. He's got pretty good content. There's a few people on YouTube. Social media, there's getting to be more popular on social media. I get jealous because guys pop up there like, why didn't I think about that? So
yeah.
But there's more out there. I'll get a list together. I need to do that. I need to put a list on my YouTube, like other channels to go check out that are relate to what I do. But I listen to there's Advanced Refrigeration Podcast. Now those guys do like racks, and they do like big grocery store stuff, and it's cool. A whole lot of it doesn't correlate to what I do because it's sort of CO2 or other stuff, but it's cool to listen to it. And they talk about different techniques and stuff, so they're pretty good. They also have one called Cooler Heads Podcast, which is pretty new. It actually is about how to cope with things in the trades. It's about a mental health thing. So they do a lot of topics, and some of the topics kind of irritate people because people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But it does do good. Don't hold your feelings in. Guys, men have been trained for years just to hold it all in, and then something happens, and they lash out or they do something worse. And it's just it's how to deal with your emotions and day-to-day life in a trade. So there's some different types of stuff out there, but no, there's a few refrigeration ones and some HVAC, but there's not a whole lot. I listen to the Tool Pros podcast. Now he does a lot of tool reviews, but he owns a plumbing HVAC shop, so they have guys in talking about HVAC and some plumbing and refrigeration stuff. So that's another one to check out.
Okay.
There's a few more HVAC jerks. They do HVAC stuff, but if you pay attention, a lot of the HVAC stuff will actually, once you get some time in, will actually start correlating with the hot side stuff, especially with the gas, like ovens and stuff.
I've noticed that.
You're like, oh, that's a glow igniter. It's the same glow igniter that's used on this rooftop unit, or a gas valve is a gas valve, same gas valve used in this. So you start to see similarities. You'll see you'll see a spark ignition, you'll see glow ignition, you don't really see standing pilots anymore on rooftop units and stuff like that. But a lot of the stuff is the same. So once you figure it out on this, like, hey, I've seen that before. It's how this works, and you know how it works. So a lot of the HVAC stuff does transcribe over. So
yeah, I have noticed that too. That's all I've been listening to. So.
Yeah, there's not very many like me. So there's a couple more, and I'm trying to get a friend of mine. He's in Florida to be a co-host, but he's trying to transition from like a tech to a trainer and a manager, and he doesn't have time for me. So hopefully he sees this and he feels bad about it.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
I don't think so. I know I should be shouting out to everyone that's been helping me. I probably missed somebody, so I'm sorry. I love you all.
All right. Well, we won't take up any more of your time. I appreciate you staying late. Anywhere you want to plug, or any of your social media or anything, if you want to plug that. If not, you want to be private, you can be private. It don't matter.
I'm new to that. I'm a baby in that too. So yeah. Even LinkedIn, I don't know really what I'm doing.
Yeah, I was asked to do LinkedIn a couple of years ago, and then I lost the passwords. I had to start another one when I started doing this just to help promote it. So I follow you on there, so we'll catch you up. So if you ever see anything, just always jump on there and say hi. So
sure, absolutely.
All right, have a good night. Thanks for your time.
You too, Pat.